Of course. Thank you for coming, or thank you for allowing me to.
Yeah, of course.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean.
And we've been talking about this for so long. It's about time that we did this.
There we go. Let's turn this a little bit. All right. Okay. So what's up, everybody? This is another episode of Me versus Me podcast. I'm here with a good friend of mine. You want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. My name is Stewart Ridman Espinosa. I actually know Richard through work. We used to work together at Pure Energy Construction. He really helped me out a lot. He's pretty knowledgeable and a hardworking guy, but enough about him, a little bit more about me. Yeah. I'm a local to California. I'm 28 years old. I spent half of my life in Northern California, the other half down here. Some things I like to do. I definitely like to go out. I like to do the bar life, the clubbing life. I obviously enjoy hiking, being around the mountains in this part of town. And, more homey stuff. I enjoy watching movies, doing a little bit of gardening, and, just trying to relax. It's a very hectic time right now, so whatever we can do to relax is the best thing to do.
No doubt, no doubt. And do you ever feel like this current generation nowadays, a lot of people deal with like a lot of grief, a lot of depression and stuff like that. Do you ever experience stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I would say that I have had my own share of what they would call those mental health issues.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really know how to define it. I definitely haven't been to a psychologist, but I do understand that struggle. Nowadays, especially with technology and the stress that we live with, it is hard to really sometimes get yourself out of bed or to go to work or even to go out and spend time with your friends. I mean, that's something that people normally have fun doing, but it could be hard for them. Something that I realized is we're that generation that, we grew up and then we experienced something horrible. We saw it on TV. It was 9/11. We all got pulled out of school or we saw it in their classroom. And ever since then, it was pretty rough. All the news was always depressing. And I think that definitely took an effect on us.
Yeah, most definitely. I know there's a lot of people who like their parents died. Mm-hmm. They were given some money, but I mean, imagine that being born and then like you don't have any parents. Excuse me real quick. You don't have any like parents. All you have is just money now. Like That's crazy.
Yeah, money can't replace a parent.
Money doesn't buy happiness, and imagine how happy you'd be, with or without parents. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I will say that people they desire money, and that desire does make sense. I mean, it's not like people are now trying to get large mansions or drive fancy cars. I find most people are actually just driving for safety. They want money to not worry about the bills. If their car breaks down, they don't need to worry about, am I going to fix the car or am I not going to have food for the family or am I going to miss the mortgage payment? That's the other issue, because money doesn't buy happiness, but it does get you a little bit of security.
Exactly. And I'll say stability is definitely security. Yeah. And like someone like me, I can appreciate that very shaky foundation in the beginning. And then, just kind of like the discipline involved in me getting from point A to point where I'm at now. I can really appreciate, stability, security, and very solid, foundations.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that we're trying to build right now. I definitely think that our recent decade and what happened with COVID especially showed us the need for this multi-generational building, whether it be wealth, whether it be property, and to put it quite simply, whether it just be good lessons to pass down or good stories to pass down. I noticed that a lot of people nowadays, if we're going to talk about the stories, they don't really talk to their elders too much. A lot of children nowadays barely talk to their grandparents. And I think there's some knowledge that we're losing because of that.
Yeah, and let's also talk about in retrospect, there's also a disconnect from the older generation to the newer generation. It almost seems like very stereotypical to older generations look at the younger generations like, you guys don't know what's up. You guys don't know what we're talking about. And then us be like, nah, it's different. It's not bad because it's different. It's just new, different. Like, you guys haven't tried that yet. And for you guys, or like, I used to sell cell phones, right? I don't know if I ever told you this, but I used to sell cell phones. And the older generations, I'd be like, yo, I can get you a smartphone. They're like, I don't need that. And, based off of, because it was our job to ask questions, I would figure out what they would need their phone for. So I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. And I'd make a real life assessment on them on the spot. I'd be like, okay, you don't need that phone. I know what you need. Let me go get you this little flip phone. You're going to like it, because it's new. It's not like the battery's not overheating every time you charge it. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a good time using it because you don't got to kind of like sit there, on the counter, do that whole counter lean like, fuck,
Yeah.
So this is, but like for other people, like, or I'd be like, it sounds like you could really use a smartphone. And then, against anything I might tell them, they'd be like, nah, it's too fancy. I don't need it. I just need this. And I'm like, dude, you're not even going to try it out. And then maybe like a couple years later, then you see, smartphone being a thing, people start getting it. And it's just like, I knew you needed it. It's just, you
they
probably
don't want to listen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe they just don't think you're intelligent, or maybe they're too proud. That's a big thing. Sometimes they get a little too proud, but I definitely think that it's a two-way street. These older people, and you see it a lot on the news, how they have a lot of trouble with the youth now because they don't understand their values, especially. They don't understand their logic behind their actions. And it really goes both ways because we're still sharing this world together, or if you want to be more specific, we're sharing this country or even the city together, and we have to get along. So that's something that I feel like is very lost nowadays, is this communication. People aren't just talking and getting to know each other enough.
Yeah, I mean, and you can go out anywhere, right, and get to know somebody. I heard Wallow. I don't know if you follow him on like any type of social media.
No, I'm unfamiliar with that guy, actually. I don't know who he is.
He's another podcast host, right? And he's like killing it. He's very well known throughout the hip hop circles. Wallow. I'm not really too familiar with him, but I do have him on my feed, and excuse me one second. It's the
Dr.
soda.
Pepper. Yeah, it's bubbly.
He said something to me. He said something like a friend, or I'm sorry, a stranger is just a friend you haven't made yet.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And
I know exactly what that is. Yeah, I definitely live my life that way. I try and meet everyone for two reasons. Networking, obviously.
Right.
Nowadays, we kind of live in that hustler mentality, or that gig, or that side hustle. So you got to meet people, and meeting people is going to open up more doors. But the other side to it is I like to hear people's stories.
Yes.
In California, we're blessed with this diversity. I mean, you have people from everywhere, all across the world, different religions, different ethnicities. So you're able to really get stories that you've never heard before when you talk to a random person. So, yeah, that's a big one.
Also, people need interaction. Like, oh, let me turn up this game a little bit. Like, people need interaction. Like, they say that the worst thing you can do to someone is kind of like separate them and put them by themselves and isolate them.
Yes.
And that's what they do in prisons, right? So when you take away the presence, the feel of humanity from a human, they start to go crazy.
Yeah.
So if people do that to themselves because maybe like traumatic experiences, maybe negative influences, or maybe they just don't know how to cope with certain situations, they start to do that to themselves automatically. And maybe to correct that, or maybe kind of balance it, is just basic human nature. Hey, what's up? How you doing? And actually showing a little bit of like good faith in people. Like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. If we want to get to the small things you could do every day, is a smile, a wave, holding the door for someone. These really make people feel included, because you brought up a really good point. There are people that isolate themselves because they do it to themselves. They're not isolated because we ostracize them. We didn't isolate them as part of the group. No, they isolated themselves because of whatever trauma they're dealing with. And sometimes all they need is a simple hello, or how you doing? If you're in the elevator with someone, it's always good to just at least say hi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I used to work at the mall, and we were like literally grinders. We'd be sitting in the middle of the mall at a kiosk, and we were trying to get these cell phone sales, man.
Yeah.
And we were competing with like some of the other top stores at a little like mall in Panorama City. So, but you see these little old ladies, man. You walk up to them, they don't understand what the hell you're trying to tell them. You speak the same language as them, but they're like, they've raised different generations of kids. Like, to you, what you're saying, they're like, what? What are you trying to tell me right now? All right, what? Like, and then when they finally calm down, they settle, they're like, oh, you're a good kid. And they give you a hug, and you're just like, all right, bet. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
The supervisor's just like, what's up, bro? Did you try to sell it? Nah, fuck you, dog. She just made my day,
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes it's not making the sale, it's someone making your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little off topic. I know I need to talk into the mic, but when I talk, I need to look at people.
Right. So I think you could just take that off the mic, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I think I'll just kind of like look here and then look at you when you're talking.
So the way it's set up is the camera is the one you really want to be looking at. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, because even if you look off screen, it's cool to just kind of like be able to like for placement.
Yeah,
that's all this is. That's really just like what YouTube is gonna see.
Oh, that's interesting. And I don't know, for the people listening at home, this is actually my very first podcast. I've been trying to get into them a lot. I have some friends who are doing it. And I think it's a great medium. It's a great way to get people to interact because we're exchanging stories and we're able to just kind of talk on even terms. And then when you're listening to it, you could listen to it on your drive to work, when you're making dinner, doing the dishes. So it's a great way to disseminate information. That's why I love the technology age that we live in right now.
Oh, yeah. Plus, have you ever been in a dope-ass conversation with your boy and then you just, nobody, like, you don't think to record it, but you're like, oh, that was such a good moment in history.
Yeah. It's funny, back in, what was it, like back in high school and early college, back when podcasts were just starting out, I could understand why it got so big because there was a lot of times when me and my guys or just me and my friends in general were talking and we'd reminisce and think, maybe that would have been nice to record that conversation, or maybe we should have taken more pictures or wrote something down. And there's a beauty in it disappearing. There's a beauty in a memory. But at the same time, sometimes you think that this conversation would be better if you shared it. So, yeah.
Yeah, correct. Also, I've noticed in my old age, I'm only 28, but in my old age, sometimes I distort certain details based off of how I think it went versus in reality how it really went. And that's already, that's like nothing's ever going to be 100% like how you think. You're thinking the dress was white. It was really blue,
Yeah.
You remember that whole
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's
that's actually a big thing that they teach you when you're doing marketing or sales. They really encourage you to record yourself because how you think the conversation went in your head isn't how it goes, for better or for worse, especially in a job that is really critical on your performance. You sometimes beat yourself up or you give yourself too much credit. That's why recording yourself in a situation like that is very important. It gives you great perspective. Yeah.
Don't mind me.
Yeah. Don't mind me. Don't mind my phone. Just ignore that. All right.
So would you like to buy this?
Yeah. You look good, by the way. I'm just getting the lighting. Yeah. Yeah. Normally I just put it in my pocket, or if I'm doing a meeting via Zoom, I'll just put my phone down. But yeah, there are times where I think to myself, yeah, that was an amazing phrase. You did a great job. Or sometimes I just think to myself, hey, you're a fucking idiot. Can't believe you said that. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that I feel like that's also human nature, but that's just insecurities, man.
Yeah, that's another big thing that we're coping with right now is how to deal with our insecurities. Yeah, that's something that a lot of people are starting to talk about now. That the older generation actually never talked about.
Feelings. You know what I mean? Hey, sometimes I'm scared, or hey, that hurts. Don't do that. Stop, treating me like that.
Yeah.
People don't like to talk about that. No, that's too scary. That's too real. But I'll talk about shooting people. Boom, boom. I had this girl working on the street for me. I was selling everybody drugs, ruining, communities and shit.
Yeah.
That's the real stuff now.
Yeah. It's all, we're really breaking a lot of stuff down. So when you look at this generation that we live in and this time that we live in, we're breaking a lot of things down, and it's for better and for worse. Because we're breaking down what we used to think of these constructs of be a man, fucking buck up, rub some dirt into it, and I think that's still needed. But I don't think there's anything wrong with men talking about their feelings or talking about their insecurities, because at the end of the day, we're living in a tough world mentally. Maybe not physically. We're not building ditches anymore. We're not fighting in wars as much as we were. But, mentally, it can be a little bit tough. So, yeah, talking about that, we gotta break that down.
Decompression, right? And plus, you're human, so you gotta be able to talk about stuff. Because when did anybody ever get it right by going in circles? At one point, somebody was like, hey, you know what? We're just kind of going in circles. We're digging trenches here. Let's cut right a bit. Oh, hey, look, the thing we were looking for has been here the whole time. We were right next to it, but we dug ourselves in a pit. And it took one person being like, hey, you know what? I don't like that. And, just whatever else that you can possibly think of that, the human experience may offer. You have people who they have, certain diseases or certain sicknesses, or you have people that have certain intelligence levels, or sometimes you have people who have body dysmorphia. They go to the gym, but the more they work out, the more they feel like they have to work out. Everybody's got to be able to talk about that stuff without feeling like, oh, they're going to judge me because of how this person made me feel in the second grade,
Yeah. That's a big one is a lot of people lack understanding. I definitely feel like that has a lot to do with our media. And I don't want to get too political, but when you look at the news outlets like CNN or Fox News, they always victimize one side and demonize another side. and they're interchangeable. What I like to think of is just a lot of people aren't thinking for themselves. They'll either get their ideas or their thoughts from social media, or like I said before, from the news, or maybe even it was multi-generational, these ideas that just stuck with them. And they basically turn someone into a hater, and not like someone that's hating on someone who like hates you for who you are. And that's why some people, they find it really hard to express themselves or express their feelings, because maybe it wasn't something that their parents encouraged them to do, or maybe, they heard it on the news that they shouldn't be doing that, or maybe on social media, they were put down for it. And that's something that's really rough. So I do understand people's struggle to get it out there. For me, it's not hard. I could easily talk about how I feel. I can answer any question. But for the other people who it might not be so easy for, I understand that struggle.
Yeah, and it's like you said, for better or for worse, right? Because there's always good things and there's bad things, but it's like you got to kind of take the good with the good and the bad with the bad.
Yeah.
Right? And, I used to be guilty of it, where I would like overly fixate on the bad stuff. And it's like, how come it's never perfect? Well, that's just the way life goes, bucko. Life's never going to be like how you imagine it in your head. But the beauty of it is life's happening right now, all around you, and just be present.
Yeah, that's a really big one, is being present, actually. Now, granted, I mean, I definitely think there's a good place to think about the past and to focus on your future. You don't want to just be stagnant. But yeah, a big issue now, and I think, I'm very critical of social media, but a lot of people are thinking about what they could be doing, where they could be, who they could be with, what they could be spending money on. Instead, they're not thinking, hey, this is a beautiful day. Hey, my dog is super happy to see me. Hey, this meal I ate is like really fucking good. They're not thinking about those small little things that really make a day, that define your day. They're just focused on what could be, and they're never enjoying the present. And it's very small too. It's these very small, minute things that if you just think about, if you just enjoy, you really get to the sense of more happiness throughout the day.
Yeah, man. I mean, plus look at all the stuff that social media pushes on you, right? It's like kill people, sell drugs, disrespect women.
Yeah.
Like I've even kind of like seen certain atmospheres, and at one point, like I used to kind of laugh at the stuff where it's like, like have a baby by me, baby, be a single parent, like stuff like that. It's like, be out. Oh, damn. You literally just talked about like what I never had in my life, like a father. Oh shit. And that's just supposed to be funny. Damn, that's crazy. But the next generation sees it. Oh, damn. Okay, that's what they're doing. Let me study them. All right. Okay, I see their flaws and their weaknesses, because it's a bad thing to be weak, remember?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn it into like this crazy monster that can only be broken down by the next generation, because they're looking at all the faults.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. I actually just started reconnecting with my father, calling, texting. I haven't seen him in person in years, but that's another issue that we're dealing with as a generation. But this has also been an issue for many decades now, is the single parent households. And you see this a lot in the communities of color. But regardless, this is an issue no matter what race or religion you are. There needs to be a balance in your house. You need to have two parents, not only to make the life easier on one parent who's probably working and, really trying hard to put food on the table and keep the house clean, but also because you need an influence of both a female and a male presence in the house as well. So that's another issue that I see with the children nowadays. And it's kind of perpetuated by social media with this, I don't need no woman. I could just, be with as many girls as I want. I don't need to settle down. Yeah, it's something I realize that it's a big issue now. I don't know how to solve it, but I've definitely noticed it on social media.
Shout out to all the single baby mamas. We love you.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you do, girl.
Yeah, keep working hard. It's a thankless job. It's a tough one.
It is. And you know what? So it's like, all right, this goes into like a different deviation of the topic, right? Because there's good and bad. Like, obviously, if you have maybe like a toxic parent and the other one takes over, well, then at least the kid has like a fair shot at like maybe having a decent understanding of life.
Yeah.
But also there's that other thing where it's like maybe that parent that got the kid might be introducing the kid into like other people, because maybe they're one of those people that they always have to have somebody, and they're introducing more people into their life. But it's also teaching the kid how to let people come and go. And it's like, they might develop like okay, so it's all right to have, maybe multiple partners, or maybe it's all right to just have one consecutively instead of like working things out. They're like, nah, fucking get rid of it. And, the culture nowadays, women are like, you see them sometimes on like social media where they're like, they're promoting like, oh, I got like a baller, I got like somebody who's got like a lot of money, and then they're gonna take care of me, and then the kids watching, I'm like, damn, like I want that too. I want someone to buy me stuff too, right? And then you might see them out on their Instagram and they're like partying, having a good time, but they're leaving the kids with the grandparents, you know, and the kids finally get a phone and then they start seeing it in other places. So okay, so I guess that's the trend, that's what people do.
Yeah.
You know, and then like it maybe gets broken down in like by race, ethnicity, right? You got like black people, you got like Hispanics and Latinos, and then you have like, you know, Caucasian white people, maybe even different cultures. So it's like everybody's kind of got like every ethnicity kind of has like their own spin on things.
Yeah.
But it's the same signature from the devil. I rebuke you now. I just had to hit him again. Okay. Shout out Big God.
Yeah, that's it's a very interesting issue that we find ourselves with. Now the thing is that the solution isn't to get rid of social media. The solution isn't to get your computer and throw it out, because you got to think like nowadays compared to people 100 years ago who had to read a fucking book to get the answer for something. We could go on Google, find an answer in seconds. We could read books on our phone. We don't need to carry our books everywhere. We could take pictures and show them to our family. Social media is a blessing. This technology we have is a blessing, but I think it's just in a way amplifying the culture that we have right now. And the culture we have is one of just lust, and it's lust for, you know, sex or for money or for, you know, it just lacks this this simpleness in my mind. I definitely think we got to really break stuff down and get to our really simple desires and find out why we're thinking this way. That's why I personally, I've never seen a psychologist. I do think that psychology is great because it's a place for someone to open up and they could really break down why they're feeling a certain way. So it helps them grow.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, sometimes you have people who like have like other problems going on in their life and they kind of project that or reflect that in what they do. Yeah. So like, have you ever like kind of been to a store where like they probably had like bad customer service and you're like, oh damn, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
But you don't know that like everybody he's ever turned to for guidance is always kind of giving him the cold shoulder, or like maybe her baby daddy has been kind of like sleeping around with all her friends and her family is like not the best influence either. So she's just going through it and, you know, there's no one she could trust. And, you know, there's just a lot of common or not common, but like a lot of situations like that.
But there's a lot of common themes though, you know? Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Now, Richie, we all, and at least I hope a lot of people notice this and this to be the case, but I know it's a tall order, but what do you think could help us with this kind of culture? What do you think could really be done to remedy this, to kind of fix this, or to at least, you know, put people back in the right direction? What do you think personally?
I'm gonna say God every time, and sacrificing your desires of the flesh, because the things that you lust for, like you were saying, it doesn't have to be sex. You could lust for like coffee, like, you know, you could lust for anything, unhealthy situations. Sacrifice your need for that. Get right with God. God's gonna take care of you every time.
Yeah, no, you could even lust for like work. You know, I mean, you could lust for what people think are good. Lust for exercise, as you said, body dysmorphia before. That could be a symptom of it. But yeah, I agree. I think that religion is something that has both a good and a bad side to it. Definitely being raised Catholic, I saw the good in the religion. I saw the good in the practice and in the discipline and in the habits. But at the same time, when you look at what happened with the Catholic priests on how they, you know, had this scandal and everything, you know, that's why a lot of people are turned off by religion. But I still think you could have that discipline you were talking about with or without religion. There's this big philosophy that's really blowing up right now. So I actually majored in philosophy. Shout out UC Riverside, class of 2016. Great school. But a big philosophy that's going around social media and really encouraging men to be, you know, better is an idea of stoicism, which in short basically means that, you know, you are your actions. You know, your life is defined by your actions, and their big way to get there is just building good habits. And basically, when you look at religion, in short, it's a way to build good habits because you're foregoing the flesh, as you said before.
Yeah.
And with stoicism, it's the same way, because you understand that those are just desires that serve no purpose and serve no building blocks for your house or for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and plus, let's be honest. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice if you want to go for better things, right?
Yeah.
You don't be out with the boys. Stop chasing all the women.
Yeah.
Your dreams will come, right? Or even if you're chasing your dreams, man, sometimes at some point you're gonna have to like stop sleeping in so late, wake up early.
That's a big one.
Get grinding.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the biggest things that I find in common with either successful businessmen or just the philosophers that I've studied, or just people who live healthy lifestyles that aren't even wealthy, they wake up early. Waking up early is just one of the best things that you could do for yourself. So for me personally, I wake up every day at 6 a.m. And the reason for me is, since we live on the West Coast, the stock market opens at 6:30. So generally, you'd even want to wake up earlier if you're a professional trader. But still, once you wake up at 6 and then it's already 8 in the morning and people are waking up at 8 and you've already accomplished like 3, 4, 5 things, you're ready to do anything that day. I mean, you're already ahead of everyone else. So waking up early to exercise or to trade or to read or to meditate. Maybe you might have kids and you got to take them to school, so they're not up yet. Get an hour to yourself. That's why I definitely suggest everyone wake up early when you can. It's a beautiful thing. It's good for your soul, your body, and you get to see some crazy shit too. It's always a good thing to do.
Yeah. Plus, it's crazy how much extra you can do with just a little bit more free time.
It just takes 1 hour
a day, right?
Yeah, one extra hour
every day. 1 extra hour. You putting in some work, man. Maybe you ate some breakfast that day and you feel a little bit more energized.
Yeah. It's really that simple. And, I kind of mentioned this before, but one of the things that is important is breaking things down to as simple as you could get it. Now, you break something down to a simple form to understand your desires and why you're doing something. And maybe, if you have like some mental illness or you're suffering with depression, if you break it down, you're actually able to get to the root of it and combat it. But also, if you break things down simply, if you're unhappy, maybe it's because you're not going outside. Maybe you're not drinking enough water. Maybe you got to wake up early and exercise. So that's why I always think, in such a complex world and a complex society, we cannot forget to at least once a day break things down to a simple mindset or to a simple activity or simple habits. Just simple is the name of the game for me.
Yeah, and for the people who like kind of like look at everybody else like, oh, okay, how can I defeat this person? And they got to compete with everybody else around them. Compete with yourself. Compete with yourself yesterday and be better today. Congratulate yourself on your wins, right? Don't get too cocky. Don't be too arrogant, but allow yourself to feel that we did good today, and then move forward. And then it'll be you versus that achievement, but the next day. And it's a beautiful process, I feel.
Yeah. That's really true. You are definitely accomplished when, let's say, you're playing a game of basketball and you beat someone else, or your team beats the other team. But and this is just my opinion, but I definitely think you feel more accomplished when you woke up early and you practice twice as hard. I was listening to this interview with Kobe Bryant, and he would wake up at 5 or 4 in the morning and exercise, and he'd exercise 3 times a day, when some people only exercise once a day. And that's why he was so talented. But at the end of the day, he didn't do that to, be the best. He did that to beat himself, because you can't be the best until you beat yourself first. So that's something that really resonated with me. But obviously, Kobe Bryant is just someone of the utmost, highest mental fortitude. He was just an amazing human being. Yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P. Kobe. Shout out to him, his family.
His family too.
Yeah, imagine, and you know what? There's greats that were taken from us. That imagine how hard it is to cope, knowing that they're no longer around, but everybody still talks about how great they were, and it's like, yo, like that's a beautiful thing. That's what I want, for somebody who I care about. But damn, I just miss him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about Michael Jackson. I mean, say what you want about him. I mean, everyone on the planet knew him. He was a talented individual. And if we want to get more local, I'll never forget the day that Nipsey Hussle passed away. And that was heartbreaking, because I not only enjoyed his music, but I later found out all the stuff he was doing for the community. And now if we kind of circle back to what we were talking about before, it's just this culture of just nonsense, like someone shot him for no reason. I mean, he probably thought he had a reason. He thought he might have gotten notoriety out of it, but there was really no reason. I mean, it was just an absolute travesty. And the sad thing is, everybody wants to be the guy who shot the big star, but then everyone wants to be the guy who shot the big star. So that guy who shot Nipsey Hussle probably isn't with us anymore either. So it's a circle. This is how we were going back before. It just turns into a big circle.
Yeah, and it's a very what's the word, inviting toxic circle, especially when you don't see any positive influences around you or any ladders up, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you don't need a ladder up, you just need a ladder out, right? You don't need to be doing all the stuff because everybody else did it for so long. You could be doing the stuff because it's what you want to do, and that's the difference enough.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, and, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people nowadays, they aren't finding their passions. One of the big issues, especially, and you heard it recently, how Joe Biden just forgave a bunch of student debt. A lot of people think that you have to go to college. You got to go to college. You need to go. Your parents push you to go. Your school pushes you to go. That's the only way you're going to succeed. But it forces people to do two things. It forces people to do something they might not want to do. And it also forces them to have this burden of debt. And it's been all over the news recently that, Joe Biden forgave some student loans. And it's an industry. It's a business, And it's a way to take advantage of young people who don't know what they want to do and think it's going to give them the answers. You got to work hard. You got to look inward. And sometimes college isn't the right place,
Nah, because one of the clients that we have, and I just had this conversation, like, I think a couple of days ago or something, where it was like different people have different strong suits and different weaknesses.
Yeah.
So you have different types of learning as well. And you have people who are like better when they listen to stuff, better when they see it, better when they taste it, when they touch it. Who's to say that, college was the only right way? Like, there's different ways. Like, that's why I like Montessori's, right? Because you can have a child and just whatever they lean towards is going to be the thing that, they push them to. Their strong suits and they build on them.
Yeah. So I was actually, I was working in education right before COVID. And one of my dreams, my lifelong dreams, is to create a private school. Now, I don't want to go into too many details because I got big dreams on that private school and I got big ideas on how I think we should raise our children. But basically at its core is it's a way to focus on inclusive way of education, a way of teaching these kids where it's not to a standardized test. You're not just studying to take the SAT or to, graduate with a high GPA to, either go to college or get a nice job or anything. It's a way to help kids learn what's actually valuable and how to retain the knowledge. Because when you're taught just to learn for a test or just to learn for the next step, which most of the time is college, you don't retain the knowledge and you don't have this personal connection with it. So one of the big things is I definitely want to help kids enjoy learning and remember what they learned. That's actually something my girlfriend does. She's a tutor and she's a math tutor, and it's really hard to memorize math. But what she does is she breaks it down to first how to study properly, and then you'll understand math and then you'll appreciate it more. So 2 topics there, but yeah, it's just like something I'm big on.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, so me, I took some college, right? And then I also took some time off from college, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get back to it as soon as I find some stability. So the crazy part about that is I always felt like college, maybe certain classes were kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
But my biggest takeaway from it versus like me not being in college was all the school systems taught me how to do was how to learn.
Yeah.
How to learn, how just to ask the questions, how to do the studying. And then whatever it is, the topic is, like, let's say it's math, but in real life, it could be your job. Mm-hmm. How do you learn your job? So now you got to kind of study that guy and do this, right? And your test is going to be like when they finally like put you in a position and see how you do good. All right, cool. You pass. You're done with the training. Now you got the job officially. Cool. Bam. And then they got progress reports, which are kind of like those semi-annual, like, report cards and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then promotion wise, you can probably like pass the course. And this is just kind of like a very loose explanation. Obviously.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, I get that. So learning how to learn is important, but also valuing knowledge, The other thing, sorry, give me 1 sec. The other thing is a lot of children, they don't see the need to go to school. A lot of children, are dropping out and pursuing dreams of social media or, streaming video games. I mean, whatever they're doing, it's good. I'm happy that they're doing something. I'm happy that they're happy about it. But it does sadden me to think that our educational system is so rough that children aren't appreciating the knowledge that they're receiving. They're not appreciating history class or math class, because at the end of the day, I mean, we do need to still be competitive in that market, but we also want our children to strive for more knowledge and to build a base beyond culture. You know, a lot of children nowadays just want to go straight into culture. They want to be a movie star. They want to be an artist. They want to be a photographer or a social media influencer, and that's not bad, but we also still need to focus on the education and the knowledge sector. We still need to be smart as a community. We can't just focus only on culture, which is very valuable, but still we got to get the kids excited to learn and always want to learn more. I think that's something we got to focus on a lot more too.
Yeah, because I mean, if they're probably setting themselves up with false expectations. They probably pick the easy path, let's call it, because they think it's easier, but it's hard work too. Everything is hard work. Even if you're falling or if you're winning, everything is hard work. It's going to be hard no matter what. But if they're going in there like, I'm going to do just social media. Well, guess what? Those guys are grinders. Those influencers, those beautiful women pages, they're promoting, they're doing the research on the products before they even make the video. So that way, and then the camera angles and all the lighting. Yeah, that's work. Big. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, kind of going to move on real quick. The other thing that, you know, thinking about being present and looking at social media is, you know, a lot of the stuff we see on social media is fake. You know, a lot of the pictures are photoshopped. You know, a lot of the places that they are might not look that way, or there's a crowd of people around them. I mean, it's not real life, and that's the other issue. Is when you look at social media, it's painting a picture that's unachievable.
Yes, and you know what? Just because it looks easy doesn't mean it actually is. And I once had a supervisor, he made it seem like, actually he didn't make it seem, but he said something one time. He was like, pretty much to make something simple is a skill. To refine it is a skill in itself, because that means it took expertise, it took insight, it took in-depth knowledge of something to be able to kind of like, you know, boil out all the bubbles and then get it to its purest form. So that way you can make it look easy, but on the back end, you know, you don't know how deep that iceberg is.
Yeah, that's very true too. So, you know, if we're going past like these women on social media who, you know, look amazing, there's also those people on social media that make it look amazing, but it's because of hard work, and they don't show that on Instagram. The other thing about Instagram is it's always showing the good times. It's not showing the grind. It's not showing the crying or the depression or the late nights. And people think that they could either get it overnight, it's going to be handed to them, or they could achieve something that, again, circling back to it, it's not real. Because some of the stuff you see on there is straight up isn't real.
Yeah, and so like it creates like this like false hope thing, and it may create like entitlement.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Nipsey Hussle real quick, because I really like this story that I tell sometimes, where it's like, I used to just grind, and it didn't matter what it was. I know if I just put in the work ethic, I would get somewhere. But then I started listening to Nipsey Hussle's music after he died, rest in peace. But it taught me, have a plan. Grind, but for the right cause, for the right reasons. Don't just grind for anything. People will see that, take advantage of you, and then where are you? Working for somebody else, unhappy, but you know, just work? Nah, bro. Like, think it through. You know, have a plan, take steps, and execute. But, like, think about it.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but, you know, part of me thinks that, you know, they took out Nipsey Hussle because he was saying what they didn't want him to say.
That's cool, bro. Conspiracy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, especially looking back on his music too. His music was one of, I mean, not all of his songs, but a lot of them wanted to uplift people. And what's great too is you saw it in the person and in the art. So his music was very uplifting, but you could see he was doing the same thing for his community. I mean, he was actually, you know, producing what he does on the back end. I mean, it's like true on both sides. That's why I really respected the guy.
Yeah, because he had more leverage for what he was doing, and that's usually something that like maybe big CEOs at big companies, they had all the leverage. So it's like, yeah, you can make it look like glamorous online and stuff, but you really know who's the one who runs everything. Like, you bow down to me. Versus him, he's like, bro, not only do I own all the royalties and stuff, and I'm making smart business strategies, I could get somebody to beat you up. You know, like
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Like, he really walked the walk and talked the talk, you know, like everything he said was really true, was authentic. And that's what made him so good. You know, look at a guy like Lil Pump. You know, I don't know if you remember that video when they were talking about, you know, if you're going 60 miles per hour, how long does it take you to go in at like 60 miles?
Oh,
like that guy's an idiot. But it shows in his rap. Like he also is backing it up too, because he, you know, his raps aren't that good and he's not that smart. So it's the same thing with Nipsey Hussle. He's very talented, very hardworking, and he backs it all up. There's a lot of artists out there that are very fake, you know, and that don't represent who they really are. And Nipsey Hussle was someone who represented where he was, or who he was. Sorry. And then look at Lil Pump. I mean, you get what you get, you know, and that I like him because he's not bullshit. You know, he's completely upfront with who he is. But
yeah. I mean, but like realistically, you can be what's the word? Unexcusably you, but to a fault. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's
You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, I can't pass judgment on no one, and all I could ever do is kind of like wish someone like the best of luck or, you know, many blessings and stuff. But it's like if you were to ever compare the two, which, you know, it never comes down to that, but like Lil Pump, Nipsey Hussle, it's like to a fault, maybe to a degree. And then you have someone who's like revolutionary, prolific, as he
people are going to think we're so disrespectful right now comparing Nipsey Hussle to Lil Pump.
Oh no. They don't even want to know about that whole Kobe Michael Jordan shit.
Oh man. All right, let's get into it. So I personally look, I'm going to be honest with you. I love Michael Jordan, and I'm actually more of a football fan myself, but Michael Jordan is someone that I look up to. He has great work ethic and he has natural talent, and he really built a team too around his skills. Like what's that guy with all the weird piercings and
Dennis Rodman.
I mean, Dennis Rodman, like he was perfect for Michael Jordan. You know, like he built the perfect team. Now, Kobe, on the other hand, and again, maybe because I'm younger and I saw Kobe play, I personally think of him as the greatest of all time because of his natural skill on his own. And then the team helped prop him up as well. I'm not saying Jordan was bad on his own. I'm just saying I think one-on-one, I think Kobe would be better. But again, this is something that you could debate till the end of time. That's just my personal take on it.
Yeah, and you know what? I think there's like certain traits that you can't take away from someone, but they're very uncomparable, right? Like you had Michael Jordan's need to win. Like you would hear about it in his documentary where he'd bet someone, and then he'd be vicious, ruthless, just to win the bet. And then you had Kobe Bryant, who was with the shits, like, I mean, literally with the dirty work just to win, you know, and he had it down to a science, a degree to where he was coaching people on his own team. Like, you would swear, like, he's the only freaking NBA player, and they're just fucking, like, maybe college students.
Yeah, so, I mean, here's the other thing that's different between them is, like, and I don't know if this is, like, true or not, but, you know, they say Michael Jordan got cut from his high school team, and Kobe Bryant got drafted out of high school. So that both affected how they mentally are, you know, like Kobe Bryant had this strong work ethic. He was always fighting himself. Whereas I think Michael Jordan was trying to silence the haters. That's just what I think. That's my personal take. Again, I'm not a basketball guy, but I know enough about it to at least, you know, hopefully not sound like a total idiot. But, you know, that's I hope, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure future us is gonna be like, shit, like what the fuck did we do? The haters.
I don't know. Yeah, but that's just one of the sad things that we don't have Kobe with us anymore because, he definitely revolutionized the sport, and I think that he had a lot of knowledge to give still, and that's what happens, you know. Like any moment could be your last, and that's why, you know, circling back, you got to live in the present. You know, you got to be very present because, like, look at Kobe. To him, he was just on a regular commute, and you know the unfortunate happened, and that could happen to any of us. So. That's why just focusing on the right now and appreciating what you have right now is crucial. It's very important.
Take that extra second to thank God, especially when things are hard. Because it's like, what can I do? What am I gonna do? Say thank you.
Yeah, you just gotta take a big breath. You know, thank God, thank yourself, thank your parents. Like just thank nature for a beautiful day, whatever you want. But just take a breath, be thankful, and you know, you just gotta appreciate it. Because, you know, life sucks. I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, you got the highs and the lows. You don't want to get caught up on the highs and you don't want to get caught up on the lows. You know, you just want to keep going. That's what matters.
I mean, that's what boxers do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Boxers, they'll get beat up a little bit, but they'll switch angles and then they'll go back in and they'll get beat up a little bit and they're back out. And they're, you know, just roll with the punches, you know, literally like the saying goes.
Yeah. It's funny. I used to watch a lot of boxing, but I'm watching a little bit more UFC now. But I will still watch boxing, especially for some Cuban boxers. They just have a way with it that is just absolutely, you know, it's remarkable how they fight, you know? Yeah. Are you someone that likes boxing at all? UFC? What do you?
So me, I love martial arts. So anything to do with fighting or any type of like skills that can kill you, I love them.
Yeah, me too. That's some fun shit. Yeah, me personally, like if I am in a fight, I always go for wrestling. It's really funny how I'm built. So I'm tall, but my arms are very short for my body.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
Most people don't notice that, but like once I put my arm out and we try and like do an arm for arm, who has like the longest reach, it's not me. But I have very strong legs and a strong back. So yeah, once I'm close, I can take a hit too. So that's what I like to do. And I do watch wrestling every now and then. But that's why I like UFC, because they got everything in it,
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things to watch.
And the real life stuff, like not the stuff where it's like that sensei dude who's like been lying to people for the 20 years about what he could do. You know what I mean? Like that fake. Have you ever seen those videos?
I've seen. I love those videos.
Yeah, man. Me too. Like I sit there and just be like, hey,
yeah, if you're ever having a bad day, just like watch a video like that, and you'll realize life isn't that hard. There's someone always having a worse day than you.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to watch is because I like do jujitsu.
Yeah.
So I like to watch those when those fake teachers get exposed.
Yes.
You being a black belt and then you going to roll with somebody who's a supposed black belt, you're gonna see what their skill level is like that.
Yeah. I love those videos. I keep seeing this video and I've seen it for years now. It's this video of this boxer. He's like this white guy, and he would always like bring gloves to the 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness, and he'd always challenge people to fight. But he always played dirty. So he'd always hit them before they were ready or get too aggressive with someone who's not like ready for a fight. So he was a real piece of shit. And then eventually they brought him to a boxing ring for this. I think he was like this high school prodigy. He was like this pretty big, I think he was a black guy. And dude, the fight was just completely one-sided, and he was punking on him a lot. I just absolutely love those videos. I love watching people get their just desserts or get that karma or whatever you want to call it, because at the end of the day, there's always someone bigger than you. There's always someone stronger than you, and you just got to be humble no matter what. You can't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've never seen that video, I'll send it to you too. It's a funny video.
Yeah,
man.
bro, send it to me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with that being said, I'm gonna have to get out of here, but thank you for having me. I appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Hey, dude, thank you. I think this was a great podcast. I absolutely love coming on here. We're definitely going to do this again. It's not even a question.
Yeah.
Love the conversation. I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see what your audience says. Just keep it up, man. You got everything going. Yeah, shout out to Richie, man. He's grinding, and then when he's not grinding, he's making music, making podcasts. So follow him on everything, and make sure you keep up with him. Yeah, and is there any shout outs that you want to do? Because like eventually this is gonna be on like podcast or like YouTube and stuff. Is there any like type of following you want, or maybe some shout outs you want to direct the traffic to? Obviously just I always like people that get on my social media. My social media is Beefy Stew. My name is Stewart, so Beefy Stew. The one thing is I came up with that when I was in high school and I wasn't the best at spelling. So I spelled it BEAFYSTEW instead of BEEF. It's supposed to be BEEFY. Yeah, my brain, I kind of had to like think about it a little bit. Yeah. So it's BAFE Stew. But either way, add me. That's my handle on everything. I originally picked it out for my Xbox 360. Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 1. Yeah. So Beefy Stew, BEAFYSTEW. Sorry. And much appreciated. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Shout out. Thank you guys for coming to the Me versus Me podcast. I'll catch you guys on the next one. I told you what I am. You hear me? Look what it's become. I'm so calm, I'm so calm. I'm so calm, I'm so calm. I told you what I am. You hear me with it down from. Look what it's become. I'm so calm, I'm so calm. I'm so calm, I'm so calm.